Hey everyone, so we just got done setting up our algae cultures. So the next step is to figure out how much algae we actually have in the culture. And so group 2 here is your flask we set up just a few minutes ago. So set that here. And to figure out how much biomass is in here, we are going to use a couple of different tools. So we have the Secchi stick, which we'll talk about how to use here in a moment. And then we also will use our 50 milliliter skirted falcon tube. So just for your reference, we are on the second portion of our day 2 worksheet, and it should say at the top, part 2, sampling your algae cultures. And there's a table here in gray that's in the middle of the worksheet, and we're going to fill that out as we move through this next activity. All right, so the Secchi stick. The Secchi stick has 2 different pieces. The first part is the ruler. And so this really long, tall part here, it starts at 0 millimeters and goes all the way up to 185. And then the second part is this little shield here. And so it's black and white shield. And what we're going to do is we're going to watch this little shield as we lower the Secchi stick vertically into the water. And when we no longer can see that shield, we're going to take a measurement. And so let's kind of do a quick dry run here. So normally we would shake up the culture and we'd pour 50 milliliters into the culture, into the falcon tube and come all the way up to the top there. And then what we'll do is we'll use our Secchi stick and we'll come right through the top of the falcon tube and we'll lower the Secchi stick all the way through until the point where we can no longer see the shield, and we'll stop. And then what we'll do is we'll take a reading exactly where the water is contacting at the surface of the Secchi stick. And that's going to be our Secchi stick reading that we'll write down on our worksheet. All right, so let's do this for real then. So we're going to go ahead and make sure our algae is nice and mixed up. And we're going to fill our falcon tube up with 50 milliliters of our culture. Perfect. All right. So we're going to go ahead and use the Secchi stick. And remember, we're going to lower it vertically through the culture until we can't see the shield anymore. And then we're going to write down exactly where the water surface is touching the ruler on the Secchi stick. All right, so here we go. So we're going to go down through the culture. I can still see it, and it looks like it's disappearing right about there. And that looks to be 25 millimeters on our ruler. Perfect. So we'll go ahead and pull this out. So on our worksheet then, you go ahead and fill out the date that is today. You are group number 2. And then if you think about just a few minutes ago, we set up our culture. And do you remember how much algae we actually added to the culture? So we added 70 milliliters of media, and we added 30 milliliters of algae. So you can go ahead and write 30 in that box there. And then the Secchi stick reading, which we just took, was 25 millimeters. So make sure you document that as well. So the next box is asking us the amount of actual biomass in your flask. How much algae is there? And so to get that number, we're going to use our algae biomass estimator tool. And so what's nice about this is you can use the Secchi stick reading, which is in the left column here, and that will help you estimate the amount of algae that is in your culture. So we just need to look down the left side here of these columns, and what we're looking for is our Secchi stick reading, which was 25 millimeters. And so perfect, right here, H. 25 millimeters. And so if we look in the box next to it, that means there is 250 milligrams of algae per liter of our culture. And so there we go. We'll go ahead and write 250 down on our worksheet for that. And then the next part here is, so now you filled out the table. And then the last part here is our qualitative data. So the measure that we just did with the Secchi stick gave us quantitative data, a number to describe how much algae is actually in the culture. And this next part is qualitative. So using your own observations, explain what your culture looks like today. What color is it? Does it look like something you've seen similarly as well? And so here, I'm going to go ahead and put our algae back in the flask. So we'll just pour this back in. And I'll leave this here for you guys to take a look at. And so you can go ahead and fill in that bottom question for your qualitative data or your observations of your culture. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and set our culture on a windowsill somewhere, give it a couple of days of light and a little bit of warmth from that solar radiation. And we're going to come back in 2 days, and we're going to measure our growth rate by measuring the biomass one more time using the exact same method we just did. And we're hoping that the algae is growing, so we'll have a little bit more biomass next time we come around. So I'll see you in a couple of days. Thanks.